like to issue a formal apology. After last week's video, it was brought to my attention that some people may have felt disenfranchised by what I had to say. They told me, not everyone can afford brats. And they're right. I was ignorant, I was irresponsible, so today I'm going to come up with a more affordable meal to prepare. Today I'm going to prepare pad thai. Now this is a great meal for those times where you find yourself out of food, but the welfare check just hasn't quite came in yet. So for today, what we're gonna need is a pot, something to stir with, the actual food, and a towel. And these are listed in order of importance. So the first step in creating pad thai is to fill our pot with water. Now, I like to use a little funnel sometimes to make it easier, and I can't fit this in the sink right now, so I just fill this up until it's all full. Okay. Now that our water is full, we need to turn on the stove. And I think that's the right burner. I always put it on to high, because if it's not on high, then you're waiting longer than you need to. As you can see from the steam, our water is boiling, and this means it is time to add the pasta, or in this case, thin spaghetti. Now I don't like to add the whole thing because I'm not fat and I can't eat that much, and it saves for meals later, and you know, cooking's fun, so I cook everything at once when you can cook them individually. But there's an amount. And you just kind of wait for the water to de-stiff them, and then they'll be ready to stir. So, if you've been paying attention, then you knew we needed something to stir with. I got my handy dandy prongs again, and we're gonna just kind of stir. And you wanna just make sure they're not sticking to the bottom. That's the real key here. Now the best part about using prongs is that you can grab some of the noodles and touch them and to see if they're done. And this one's still crunchy, which means that it's not done. So, as you can see, by how loose these noodles are, that they are done. So what we're gonna do now is, I should have told you guys this earlier, but we need a strainer. So I'm gonna pour it in the strainer. I'm gonna turn the stove off. You don't want that on. And then we're going to add the peanut butter. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take the lid off. And this is new. Never been used before. And you get a spoon. And you glob the peanut butter in the noodles, and you just kind of stir it around, just like this. And it's gonna take some work, and it's nice to have strong forearms for this because your fingers will get tired. So then what we're gonna do is we're gonna put this back in the stove, and then it's ready to eat. So earlier I mentioned that you need a towel. This is so the bottom of the pan doesn't burn your leg. And it still might be a little warm, but it could be worse. So you just kind of take the noodles and you eat them. Now to answer some fan mail. Joshua Miners asks, I've heard red wine with red meat. What kind of drinks do you recommend? So, for instance, with this lovely meal that I have prepared, I also enjoy drinking Natural Light, which just also happens to sponsor this video. They're not an official sponsor, but it would not be possible without them. Palmer Tweedy asks, what kind of food do you recommend for a date? Well, if I were to go on a date, I would order something bland for me, but for her, I would order something with beans or onions, something to really bring the stench up, to knock her down a level and make her feel a little less about herself. Elderly cooking enthusiast asks, what's the difference between pickling and fermenting? Well, pickling is a fruit or a sport, and fermenting is the process of changing a fruit into alcohol, like beer. Now, for the most important aspect of this evening, cleanup. Now to start, the peanut butter kind of ruined the strainer, so we're just going to throw that away. I didn't finish this because I was full, I guess. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put saran wrap on it. Oh, let's put it in the wrong way. And I put the saran wrap on it. And I just leave it here for another day. And the saran wrap is important so the bugs don't get it. And then you cover the peanut butter and you're done cooking with me.